I feel a presence. Harold, is that you?
He was inspired by the romance and ritual, the way people came together over dark roasted coffee. Today, one man's tribute to the Italian coffee bar has created one of the fastest growing companies in America. And with thousands of employee shareholders, Starbucks is bringing neighborhoods together around the world. Where do you find companies with the drive to invigorate entire industries? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
It's about betrayal, jealousy, and one man's forbidden desires.
I need some kind of cake.
It's not Melrose Place.
Smell me.
It's the King of Queens, CBS Monday.
The address is CBS.
Welcome home.
Be a part of the team more people turn to. When you see news take place, call star 600. This free service provided by Alltel. When news happens, turn to Eyewitness News.
What has Buddy McKay done for schools? He's had 8 years to redeem the lottery promise and done nothing. Now he's promising $1.3 billion in new spending with no plan to pay for it. That means higher taxes. Newspapers call McKay's plan lackluster, simplistic, and say McKay was just making up the details as he went along. Jeb Bush, Frank Brogan, a real plan. Higher funding for public schools, accountability, discipline, no social promotion. Bush Brogan for better schools.
Join Eyewitness Sports Director Randy Ruditz as he covers the battle of North and South. Florida, that is. Monday on Eyewitness News at 5:30 and 6. Randy will come to you live from Jacksonville as the Jaguars take on the Dolphins. From your sports leader, WCTV.
For all the hard-hitting action and excitement of Florida State football, join us Sunday for the Bobby Bowden Show. I'm Gene Deckerhoff along with FSU head coach Bobby Bowden.
I will look at highlights from the Orange Bowl, where we went hunting for hurricanes.
Burt Reynolds will have another great moment of Florida State football, plus a whole lot more.
Join us Sunday morning at 11:30 on WCTV.
Florida State leads Miami 24-7. Ed, there's a very disappointed Lamont Green, injured on the first play of this game, dislocated elbow, and that one could keep him out a while.
And from Miami, Florida, this was a huge game. A senior last time down here. Bobby Bowden, when Lamont Green was a senior in high school, 1993, the morning after Florida State won their first national title, Bobby Bowden was at his doorstep to recruit him, so you know how important he is to this team.
Kenny Kelly rolls complete, hooks up Reggie Wayne near sideline, and that stops the clock. First play of the fourth quarter, Derek Gibson, a rover back.
You know, if you're Miami, you've got to start thinking stuff on the sidelines. You don't need to get into a hurry up 2 minutes, but you do have to start to conserve time. Scott Covington taken out of the game for Kenny Kelly. It's not hurt. He's just taken out to get a little change up. But if you're Scott Covington, you can't lose any of your confidence. Not his fault what's happening today.
First third down conversion of the day for Miami. Jackson big hole on the right side. Turns the corner to the 47. "24 yards.
Speed versus speed. Florida State has all their 8 guys up on the line of scrimmage. Nick Williams, the fullback, has played a sensational game. Another good block, that time on Tommy Polley, and Jackson uses his speed to get outside for a huge gain. But again, Nick Williams, the fullback, doesn't get a lot of touches. He's a good receiver out of the backfield, a better blocker out of the backfield.
Jackson 12 carries, 65 yards, 1st and 10 at the 47 of Miami. Kelly again, Jackson couldn't slide out of the tackle that time by Tommy Polley. Polley's been active. The great story about Tommy Polley, his mom Amy works 3 jobs He's working towards a degree in nursing. Well, I tell you, and Paulie just says, you know what? What a role model for myself. Mom's out there working 3 jobs and wants to become a nurse.
Tommy Paulie out of Dunbar High School in Maryland, out of Baltimore, Maryland. They're known more for their basketball than they are their football.
Second 9 from the eye. Kelly. Sideline just out of the reach of Darryl Jones.
Kelly's pass intended for Jones.
Jones, another one of those sophomore wideouts from Dallas.
Third down.
If I'm Butch Davis, I've got to start considering putting Scott Covington back in the ball game. I think Miami is still in this game with Florida State, and Kenny Kelly has been off the mark. He's already thrown an interception. If I'm Butch Davis, that man has to be back in the game.
Third down, 9. 3 wide receivers for the Hurricanes. On the slant. And you got to be kidding. He was looking for Santana Moss.
Yes,
and out of nowhere comes Andre King.
Yes, he was. Little crossing pattern. Santana Moss was wide open. Kenny Kelly throws it behind Moss. And who's waiting there but Andre King? Doesn't matter how you get there, just get there.
In traffic, 13-yard pickup and another third down conversion made. First and 10 from the 39 of Florida State. Play clock down to 5, down to 4. Down to 3, and he just gets it off. Here comes Jackson. And closes it down.
Penalty markers are down.
Inside the 40, Jackson rumbles to the 33. Tate Cody been active on the day for Florida State, made the stop.
The Miami coaches got an illegal procedure. The Miami coaches knew that they were in a bad formation, wanted to get out of the play. Butch Davis was screaming for a timeout. Kenny Kelly was already into his cadence, could not get the timeout, but the Miami coaches knew that they couldn't run that play.
Illegal procedure. On the offense. 6 men on the line. 5 yards. Previous spot.
Miami coaches saw that, and they wanted to get out of it, but they couldn't. Boy, the penalty's starting to add up for Miami.
Covington would like to jump back in.
First down.
9 flags against Florida State on the day. They've calmed down in the second half. Miami now with 10. First and 15. Jackson follows his blockers, breaks the tackle up to the 40-yard line. Let's go to Timmy Brando with a college football update. Tim?
All right, fellas. Well, after that Thursday night spanking at the hands of NC State, Donovan McNabb making up for it today. Here with a play fake on the reverse. He goes 56 yards to Maurice Jackson over a winless Cincinnati. Next Saturday, it's the Q's in Boston College on CBS, guys.
You always have to worry about that play fake when you're playing the Syracuse Orangemen.
Well, you have to respect Donovan McNabb's talent so much, not only as a passer, but his ability to get out of the pocket and run. 9th play of this drive coming up. 2nd and 11. Kelly on the sprint out. Picked up the block, tuck and run. Head to the sideline and is tripped up at the 32. Troy Saunders.
Kelly keeps the football.
Kenny Kelly, a good athlete, comes out in a little half roll, holds up because number 40, Tony Bryan, is there, continues to buy himself time. That right there bought him the extra time because number 4, Troy Saunders, had to respect the fact that Kenny Kelly still could have thrown it. That bought him about an extra 7 yards. Kenny Kelly with that play fake, with the arm fake. Nice job.
10th play of the drive. 3rd down, 4, 3 wide receivers. Santana Moss in motion. Kelly, ball batted at the line of scrimmage, and that's going to bring up a 4th down.
Now, if you are Butch Davis, I think you have to go for it. You're inside positive territory here. Kenny Kelly now starting to feel what Scott Covington felt, that this Florida State defense Plays for real. The bullets are live. He's getting hit from every direction. Number 28 is Chris Hope comes in, slams him over the top of Tony Bryant, and like I said, Butch Davis has to go for it here on 4th down.
And you see Butch Davis signaling for a timeout. We'll take a break. 11:35 to play in the Orange Bowl. Florida State 24, Miami 7.
I like web TV because I can email pictures of the kids to my mom back in Iowa right through the television. That'll make her day. Of course, I don't have any kids of my own yet, so I'm going to use this phony television family to help me demonstrate. All right, people, smile. Now I'll send it to Mom on her web TV. It'll freak her out. Dear Mom, I'll explain later. Love, Tombo.
Web TV service, the internet, television, and more.
Well, we build marine winches here and marine deck equipment. My boots, they're very important. I got to walk around all day in them. They better be comfortable and they better be right. These are my feet.
You have to have the equipment to match the environment. Bottom line.
Wolverine DuraShocks, the world's most comfortable boots, guaranteed.
We're not talking about a new kid on the block here. Wolverine's been around a long time.
I got enough hard work to do here in a day that I don't need my feet hurt.
The Honda ATVs. The desert can't beat them. The jungle can't beat them. Mountains, rocks, water, even a fall from 1,000 feet can't beat them. And if you thought these Hondas were tough to beat before, now they come with no down payment and 9.8% APR financing, but only until December 31st. Tough to beat deals from your Honda dealer. Honda ATVs, best on earth.
Monday when two Daves collide.
This is why every morning I get out of bed with a smile on my face.
Plus, Kenny the Stagehand hits the circuit.
Really should do it, man.
Monday.
Back in Miami, Florida State by 17. Here's our CBS Sports Line stat of the game.
Amazing that Miami has only been able to convert on 3rd down twice in the whole game. 22.5% on the season for Florida State. That's impressive.
And for complete college football coverage, go to cbs.sportsline.com.
And the reason Florida State is able to shut down teams on 3rd down is because it's always 3rd and long. They do such a nice job on 1st and 2nd down.
Miami 1 of 2 on 4th down tries today. Kelly sprints back, rolls. That ball again looked like it was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Corey Simon, the nose guard.
They're now 1 of 3 from the University of Miami on 4th down.
11:30 to go, 4th quarter. We'll be back.
At a time when computer companies were building walls of incompatibility, one company envisioned a world without boundaries. They began by building high-powered workstations. Soon their servers became the backbone of the internet and corporate networks. Today, Sun Microsystems has created technology linking all things electronic. Where do you find companies whose brilliance lights the way? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
As you may have read on the internet, in a national tasting of regular and ice beers, brewmasters and beer experts named Old Milwaukee the best tasting beer in America. Now check this out. Old Milwaukee Light has won the gold medal for best tasting light beer, beating every other major light beer for taste. Judge for yourself. Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light, America's best tasting beers.
NASDAQ College Football on CBS is sponsored by the NASDAQ Stock Market, Wolverine Boots and Shoes, Nike, and by Xerox.
Well, the afternoon shadow starting to creep in here at the Orange Bowl. Florida State leading Miami 24-7. And the Seminoles have the football at the 33. Winky stays in at the QB. And they go to the ground game.
Winky gives to Cheney.
And Craig Bolerjack back along with Ed Cunningham. And Ed, in the first half, Miami, the youth showed they stayed with Florida State, but just the fact the Seminoles' depth played a major factor here in the second half.
Bobby Bowden loves to rotate a bunch of guys, and he said, I think Miami can hang with us for one half, but he wondered if they'd be able to hang with him during the second half, and we've seen that they have not been able to do that.
A lot of pressure on that guy, Chris Winky, as he comes in to the Orange Bowl, but has played steady, gone with the short stuff, and been very successful. What good downline pursuit by the orange-clad Hurricanes.
Rushes.
Michael Lawson, number 97, right there, the big guns. Makes the stop.
Not only the big guns, but he spent some time as a singer. Michael Lawson last year, when Georgetown came to town to play Miami in a Big East basketball game, sang the national anthem. Boy, look at the yards. Second half has been a disaster for Miami on offense. And we've talked about the Miami defense. They're still playing hard, but their offense just has not been able to get in sync this entire second half. Too much pressure put on this Hurricane defense.
And that third quarter was field position as well.
Every time Florida State seemed to be starting right at midfield, and they even started on the plus side of the field several times.
From the shotgun, Winky playing with that football on his fingertips, throws up a rainbow, and it's incomplete. Boy, nearly pulled down by Lavernius Coles. You know, his nickname is Trouble. He kept his mom, I tell you, I got a chuckle out of this. He kept his mother in labor for 4 days. And the doctor said, son, you're trouble.
Well, he was almost trouble for Miami on that play. The fastest guy in the history of Florida State University ran right by Leonard Myers. Broke his ankle in the spring, did Lavernius Coles, and doesn't even look like he's limping at all out here today.
Cottrell, Myers, the fair catch at the 33. 9:52 to go, fourth quarter. Hurricanes will have it when we come back.
This is a world only a few know well. A world of risk and uncertainty, where the roads can take you to success or prosperity, or sometimes to no place at all. This is the financial world. For decades, banks and investment firms of mountainous size have ruled the land. Yet high above the horizon, another mountain has risen. A mountain called First Union. With 16 million customers, the nation's 8th largest brokerage and 6th largest bank. For a new perspective of the financial world, come to the mountain called First Union. Or if you prefer, the mountain will come to you.
The CBS star of college football today is sponsored by First Union.
Tim Brando and Craig James here in New York. Today's standout performance was turned in by Cedric Irvin of Michigan State.
You kept thinking it was you, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Cedric Irvin, the second overtime, first play from it, takes it in 25 yards out. Guy says he's not real fast. Doesn't need to be. Great vision and the ability to cut back where there's an opening. He did it. A huge win for his team.
Yeah, coming from behind to win it in double OT. Now let's take you back to the game.
Florida State fans dancing in the stands here at the Orange Bowl. 24-7. Seminoles, 9:52 to play. Covington returning as the Hurricanes quarterback. You look at his numbers, 13 of 26, 149 yards, and the 1 touchdown. Jackson, the ball carrier, lets big yardage to the 43-yard line. Well, Jackson has just been a workhorse for Butch Davis here in the second half, tackled by David Warren.
We're going to watch Damon Neely, the right guard, come down and make a great block on the end of the line of scrimmage. This is how you root a guy out. He's going up against number 58, Jamal Reynolds, pushes him completely off the screen. That's why that hole was so huge for Jackson.
Boy, Jackson, 15 carries, 81 yards, nearing the century mark. First and 10, Miami. Jackson again off the right side. Just blows through the hole. Another fine job up front by Miami's offensive front. Down to the 46-yard line.
Now's the time. You get some rolling. Maybe take one down the field if you're Miami. James Jackson's been a nice change-up today for Miami. Spelling Edgerrin James. 90 yards on the day.
Covington's return, and the Hurricanes have responded with a nice drive. This time pressure. Down he goes. Boy, Covington has not been able to escape the heavy rush by Florida State.
Left side of your screen, number 56, Roland Seymour goes right by number 76, Robert Sampson. Scott Covington, again, he was pulled out of the game for Kenny Kelly, but you cannot blame what's happened today on him. There's just nowhere for him to run. He turns around, number 40, Bryant's right in his face. You can't blame this guy. He's hung in there. He's stuck in the pocket, but man, those Seminoles have been all over him today.
I think Butch Davis said that that front line is just a bunch of werewolves. And the Wolves are out right now. Jackson knocked down at the 40 by Jerry Johnson, number 92. For an update on college football, let's go to New York City and Timmy Brando. Tim?
Fellas, I got one that changes the vast landscape of college football for you. Bobby Newcomb trying to lead Nebraska back, but his pass picked by Cedric Curry to seal the deal. Nebraska's 19-game win streak has snapped. Hall and Toombs each rushed for over 100 yards. First loss for Nebraska since the Big 12 title game to Texas in '96.
Mr. Bowler Jack, I believe you owe me an apology. The drive over, I said that was my upset special of the day. And I think you chuckled at me.
All right.
I think you chuckled.
No, I had a slight grin.
Dead ball. Ball start. On the offense. 5 yards. Still third down.
Well, tonight on CBS, it's martial law. You got to see it to believe it. Martial arts superstar Sammo Hung is kicking the fun back into Saturday nights. Don't miss martial law tonight only on CBS. You know what, that loss today by Nebraska also takes a little bit of the glamour game away from Kansas State at the end of the season. A lot of talk about that. They throw it out of the backfield. Najee Davenport. Haven't called his name much on the day, but an explosive back, great size, a freshman from Miami.
You know, the one mistake going back to that Nebraska loss to Texas A&M, everything I read coming out of Lincoln when they beat the University of Washington soundly 2 weeks ago was, we want a piece of Ohio State. You know, and I think they forgot. They had a very good Texas A&M team on their schedule. Oklahoma State almost upset them last week, and they still have Kansas State. They got caught looking forward.
Feaster back to receive the kick, and he does a nice job with the fake, and then the ball bounces into the end zone. How about a 56-yarder by Crossland? 24-7, Florida State.
People, today's agenda, the information age.
What happened to the industrial age?
That was last century.
Those were the days. You built it, you sold it.
No more living in the past. Today, it's not just what you make, it's what you know that matters.
He always gets so proactive around the millennials.
All I know is they need help communicating down there. Look, he just quit, and years of knowledge are going out the door with him.
Isn't there a way to capture what he knows?
Over there, she's got thousands of documents on the network.
Finding the one she needs should be simpler.
He's got half a good idea over there, she's got the other half.
We get the picture.
What are we supposed to do about it?
Make it simpler for people to exchange ideas.
Share documents. Have conversations.
Right, so they create knowledge they can use.
They'll need a digital office.
With new software.
New hardware.
Relax, I've got us a partner down there.
But they only make...
Not anymore, they don't.
Oh.
Keep the conversation going. Share the knowledge. The Digital Document Company. Xerox.
Could roses eventually cost a dime a dozen? Will you ever buy options on a rock star? Is there potential in the bot? One thing's for sure, opportunities abound. And every day we look at them through a microscope. Like a peek, let's get to work. Solomon Smith Barney.
On the NFL Today.
After years of controversy, there's a whole new Ricky Waters in Seattle.
I am the person and the player that I am right now because of all the things I went through, both good and bad.
Tomorrow on CBS.
Back at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Less than 7 minutes on the clock. There is a happy group of Seminoles. That defense really has played strong today. Understatement.
Scott Covington's going to be a little disappointed in his outcome, but, you know, he's played his heart out. He's been beat up a little bit by this Seminole defense.
Winky the handoff to Chaney. Well, he just followed those blockers. Picks up a few extra yards. Well, tonight on CBS, make sure you check out Early Edition, followed by Martial Law, and then Walker, Texas Ranger. That's tonight on CBS.
The waters just become a little more murky in college football. Florida State beat Texas A&M in the Kickoff Classic 23-14. Bobby Bowden's team still kind of lurking in the background of that national championship. Texas A&M knocks off Nebraska today.
Well, now you start talking maybe the one loss. How that's going to play into it. Chaney again, the ball carrier, up to the 26-yard line. Al Blades made the tackle.
Number 59, Michael Smith, slow to get up for the Hurricanes. Probably just a little frustrated more than anything. Butch Davis, a former defensive coordinator here at the University of Miami, and then at the Dallas Cowboys with Jimmy Johnson. Always been able to coach defense, and you know, even though the outcome has been decidedly Florida State, especially in the second half, I think he's going to put that film on and be really pleased with the effort of a lot of his players. None of his guys have given up.
Well, he knows about what it takes to build championships. Of course, he was here, as you mentioned, as a defensive coordinator for the '87 championship. Won a couple of Super Bowls in Dallas with Jimmy. Make sure you tune your dial to CBS next Saturday. College football, NASDAQ college football. It's either Auburn and 6th-ranked Florida. The Gators taking a few bites, and Syracuse, Donovan McNabb taking on BC. Check your local listings next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern.
Those guys have a lot of reason to keep their heads up. Nick Williams has played a fantastic game, the fullback for Miami, number 36. A lot of reasons to be proud of themselves today. 24-7 with 6 minutes left. You got to wonder, if you're Florida State, are you going to maybe get another quarterback in the game, Chris Wenke? I know you need to continue to get him time, but you've got Marcus Autzen behind him, and behind him a freshman, Jared Jones. Got to wonder, Bobby Bowden loves to get backups playing time when they may make a change at the quarterback position.
But then remember, too, Wenke, only his 6th start. He probably needs the reps.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I understand that, but you still have to plan for the future and maybe get another guy in there just to take some reps when there's people sitting in the stands and you're not out of practice.
3rd down 4 from the 26. Wenke looks right, throws back to the far side. It'll be a 1st down for the Seminoles. Marquise Fitzgerald made the tackle.
Throws complete to Bell.
Try to keep them cool, but you know, in this heat, with the lack of depth that Miami has, eventually it's going to start to take its toll. Again, Butch Davis said next year they'll be back to full scholarships, 85. Be able to start building that depth back up. Their frontline players are pretty good. I mean, they've showed that today, but it just starts to wear out in this heat.
Hurricanes show blitz. Hand off, Chaney up the right side. I'll tell you what, the clock is ticking down, but Miami's defense still sticking people. Edward Reed, the strong safety, made the stop.
Made the stop after a 5-yard gain.
Offside. Defense. 5 yards. Replay first down.
And let's take you around the ACC and the standings. Virginia, unbeaten in conference play, 5-0. Florida State, right in the middle at 2-1, 4-1 overall in the season. Georgia Tech, NC State, Wake Forest, unbeaten in the conference.
Florida State's won the conference every year that they've been in it. Their only loss in conference play came back against Virginia in 1994. They lost again this year against NC State. Very unusual.
1st and 5. Cheney dances through traffic and picks up 4 to the 44. Reed and Blades team up to make the stop.
Tackled by Reed.
But this defense from Miami, I'll say it again and again and again, Al Blades, Edward Reed, all those guys, they're still flying around laying some hats. Edward Reed came over the top that time, put a smack on the running back. These guys, I mean, you kind of feel for them. You know, they're out there playing as hard as they can. They don't get much rest because there's not many backups. It's very difficult to play in this heat and not get any type of rest, especially on defense. Much harder to play defense and offense because all the pursuing you have to do.
Alan Fitzgerald's a freshman, Reed's a freshman, Blades a sophomore, Leonard Myers a sophomore. Coaches don't want to say, well, how about next year and look how good things are, but they're playing for now.
William McCray.
At the beginning of the game, we said this series has been a game of who runs the ball the most. Whoever gets the most yardage ends up winning. Well, you see what happened today. 101-71, Florida State now trying to grind it out. Of course, 71 and 98 is a little better than what Miami did last year against Florida State.
Well, I'll tell you, just Butch Davis just has to look at how much of a jump has occurred in 1 year's time with this football team of his.
He said it was cruel and unusual punishment to some of his freshmen last year, 18 years old, going against 22-year-old Florida State guys. 3rd down and short. Winky throws sideline.
Incomplete. Lavernius Coles out of his reach. That brings up a 4th down.
4th down.
Florida State able to burn some time off the clock. As the game starts to run down, that running game becomes more and more important. You know, Florida State has really had to battle a lot of injuries this year. Tony Bryant, the defensive ends, had a separated shoulder. There you saw McCorkle had that leg wrapped up.
Myers takes the hanger at the 22, nearly fell, and they're going to whistle him down.
The punt is 33 yards.
33-yard kick and a 4-yard return. Well, you haven't seen the new detective show, Buddy Farrell. Friday's episode is the one not to miss, with special appearances by our own Greg Gumbel, Phil Simms, and Marcus Allen. They may not win Emmys, but I understand they had a lot of fun. Buddy Farrell this Friday on CBS, and then tomorrow on CBS, doubleheader day around the NFL. Chiefs and Patriots, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. How about Denver at Seattle, Euro stomping grounds. Chargers taking on the Raiders. That's on CBS tomorrow, doubleheader Sunday.
How does Sims and all those guys find time to go out to Hollywood and film all this stuff? I mean, don't they work during the week like the rest of us? That NFL gig must be pretty easy for them, huh?
Covington hooks up with Reggie Wayne. You know, we got to call Gumbel on that. Must be in the contract.
2nd and 3. 33.
Go ahead.
Kenny Kelly comes back in for Scott Covington. 3 wideouts on 2nd and 3. Kelly. Oh, that ball hit the shoulder pads. Wayne, got to catch it with your hands. Hit his pads and popped out. That stops the clock with 3:24 to go in the 4th.
We saw one of the best receivers in the country today, Peter Warwick of Florida State. Makes his living catching the ball with his hands. He's so good after the catch because he catches the ball with his hands. When that ball gets in tight to your body, it's going to hit one thing. That your shoulder pads are made of hard plastic. It's going to bounce right out of it.
Now, you talked about this, but we had a chance to talk to Warwick, and you shook his hand, and I looked at your eyes, and boy, you go, my goodness.
He's got a set of mitts on him.
Miami 2 of 16 on 3rd down conversions, and flags. Reggie Wayne And they're going to toss that one on Mario Edwards, the left corner. And what do you know, another flag.
Pass interference on the defense, 15 yards, previous flag, first down.
You know, I've been on the road for about 3 weeks. There's been more laundry on this field than I have in the trunk of my rental car. Edwards just gets there a tad early. The referee behind, that's all he's looking for are the hands on the receiver before they gets there, and there's no question that Edwards was there just a little bit early. Referee makes the proper call.
That gives Miami a first down on the 48-yard line.
You know, the flip side, we're talking about Butch Davis. He has to find some things that are very positive here. I don't think Bobby Bowden is going to be very happy with his performance today. A lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties, things that'll kill them as the stretch run comes down for them.
Kelly flush from the pocket, looks deep. He's got Santana Moss. Touchdown! .52 yards. Kenny Kelly to Santana Moss.
Larry Coker, the offensive coordinator, told us that Santana Moss reminds him of Joey Galloway, and Larry Coker would know. He coached at Ohio State while Joey Galloway was there.
Andy Crossland connects.
Whenever I was down, they would always pick me up or tell me, you know, it's okay, you can do better next time. And they never put me down or told me that what I did was not good enough or anything. But they really helped me out through my tough situations that I needed to have a friend or a shoulder to cry on. Mom and Dad, Michelle and Brian, my family, I just want to say thank you for just being there for me. I love you and keep praying for me.
It would have been easy to have been a football player and not a student. And conversely, it would have been much easier to have been just a student and left football for some other day and time. But it wouldn't have been as joyous, as rich, as humbling to have been one without the other. So for all of us, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart, not for a single award on a single night, but for the many memorable and molding moments that we have had the privilege to call ourselves student athletes.
Bobby Bowden on the phones. He'd probably like to know, why didn't we recruit Santana Moss? 52-yarder.
Santana Moss was second in the Big East in the 55-meter dash behind teammate Darryl Jones. He was fourth outdoors in the 100-meter dash in the Big East Championships. You know who was third? Darryl Jones' teammate. So I said, Santana, who's faster? He says, well, Darryl's got me a little bit in track, but I'm much faster in football. Football speed, he had a great definition of football speed. He said in track, you all start out even in football. There's guys chasing you. Kenny Kelly, the freshman, laid that ball up there perfectly, knew that Santana Moss would be able to run under with that great speed.
Yeah, he beat Sean Key. Onside kick. Didn't take much of a hop, and the Seminoles cover up at the 42-yard line. That was Marvin Minnis, the wide receiver. Make sure you keep your station tuned to CBS tonight. A good lineup. We start you with Early Edition, then Martial Law and Walker, Texas Ranger. That's tonight on CBS. 3:05 remaining here at the Orange Bowl. 24-14. Hurricanes have not been heard from since the first quarter. And now they were heard loudly on that 52-yard touchdown to Santana Moss from the freshman quarterback, Kenny Kelly. Winky remains the quarterback for Florida State. Handoff has been bread and butter all day. Jeff Chaney. Rod Mack made the stick.
Chris Winky's had a huge day. A lot of his receivers has bailed him out, a couple underthrown passes, but he's kind of found his stride a little bit here in the second half. Over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. The key, again, no interceptions. Had that horrible game against NC State. Has not thrown an interception since. The maturation process continues for Chris Winkie.
Second down 8. Oh, those pads are still popping. Chaney was met and just laid out. Edward Reed, the strong safety. That was a 22nd carry of the day for Chaney, 72 yards.
And with the way this Miami defense is popping, Jeff Chaney's going to feel that. Edward Reed has come up from his strong safety position several times. He's headhunting. You know, that's the one thing Butch Davis in Dallas did. I played for the Arizona Cardinals, and when we played Dallas, you always had to worry about those safeties up in the run. They don't play an 8-man front. They play a 9-man front. Both safeties play within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. That's why they're able to come up and get shots on Jeff Chaney. He's going to feel all those shots tomorrow.
And Reed, just a freshman. Third down 9, under 2 minutes. Winkie in trouble, pop from behind, throws the football incomplete. Boy, Derek Ham was brought the pressure.
You know, when you thought the game, was starting to come to a close, Miami comes up, they're only down 10. Chris Winkie almost makes a huge mistake here. You got to know the pressure's coming. You throw that ball away, you never know. And when you roll out to the side, if somebody makes an interception, that thing's going back for 6. And we got a brand new ball game with 1:33 left.
Fourth down and 9. 1:33 here at the Orange Bowl.
You know what? We got a brand new ball game. This momentum has gone in the fourth quarter to Miami. Florida State now has to punt the ball away. Got 1:33, 2 timeouts left. Anything can happen down by 10.
Low snap, and the kick is away. Myers, oh, what a kick. Down at the 2. Boy, give a game ball to Cottrell there. 39-yard pooch. And the Seminoles down it at the 2-yard line.
Cottrell gets this ball to turn over. It's going to point first in this soft turf. That's the only way to get it to come back. One thing college punters have a hard time doing is getting that ball down into the end zone. Number 28, Chris Hope, a true freshman, gives Cottrell everything to celebrate. You know, that's like, for that guy, that's scoring a touchdown. That's dunking the basketball. That's what those guys live for, is downing it on the 2-yard line.
And they always say kickers are of that different breed. He just scored a touchdown there. Kenny Kelly, 3 yards deep in his own end zone. Wants to throw. Fumble! Safety.
This is what you call a freshman mistake by Kenny Kelly. You cannot take a sack. It sounds really obvious to say, but that internal clock has to be running. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, it's gone. It is gone. You don't have 5 seconds, not against the Florida State Seminoles, not in your own end zone. Covington should be in the game at this point.
7th sack of the day, and it turns into 2 points. 1:18 to go.
Nope, we don't have that.
When Tom Stemberg discovered he couldn't find a ribbon.
No, we don't have that.
For his home printer.
Printer?
He opened his own store, then another, and changed the way office products are sold. Being ever alert to customer needs, Staples has set company sales records every year it's been in business. Where do you find companies that are creating entire new industries? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
26-14 after the 2-point safety. And again, Ed, you made a great point. 1, 2, 3. If there's nothing there, get rid of it.
You just can't afford to take a sack. It just got to go. It's got to be gone now. Can't blame the offensive line. There was time. Roland Seymour eventually is going to get there. Going around Sampson, he's eventually going to get there. So Kenny Kelly has to have that internal clock going. You know, he's an inexperienced guy. He's a freshman. This is his first action. He's only played a few snaps this year. But in my opinion, Butch Davis has to have Scott Covington in the ballgame at that time.
Robert Hall was actually there to cover up on the fumble, but yet the safety and now the punt. Coles takes it inside the 20. He's got that breakaway speed, but the Hurricanes chase him down. 1:10 in the fourth quarter, and the Seminoles will have it back one more time, up 26-14.
And Crossland comes up with his best kick of the day. He pins Florida State down to their 25. A lot of people wonder why you don't kick the ball off after a safety. Two reasons. The ball goes further on a punt, and there's a lot more hang time on a punt than on a kickoff. So that's why you see almost everybody after a safety will use their punter instead of their kicker.
Well, hard-fought win today for Bobby Bowden. But that's what he expects that in this Miami-Florida State series.
Last year was a little aberration, the 47 blowout up in Tallahassee. But this is, you're right, this is what you have to expect when you play the Miami Hurricanes.
Winky goes the distance, takes a knee. Clock will run.
Miami's going to burn their last timeout. The Hurricanes invited, Butch Davis and his staff invited 1,000 high school football players to this game to show them, hey, we're coming back. We need your help, but we're coming back. And you know what? I think those high school players leave here today saying, you know what? They play hard. They get after it. There's exciting football being played in Miami. I think Butch Davis, I think his team, although they lost today, put on a pretty good show for some of those recruits. Of course, there's a double-edged sword. You bring all those guys in, and they get to see Florida State, too. So,
you know, I was just going to say, Bobby Bowden probably said, well, thanks. It's a road trip, but we'll take those recruits as well. And then here's what's facing Bowden and his Seminoles. Next Saturday, Clemson. October 24th at Georgia Tech. Halloween, it's North Carolina at home, and then a tough one against 9th-ranked Virginia at Wake Forest. And how about the 21st? Florida State, Florida.
But the big key there, both Virginia and Florida late in the season, at home in Tallahassee. Tough schedule down the road if Florida State wants to kind of get in that mix, top 2 or 3. Interesting to see how far Nebraska falls in the polls tomorrow. No animosity. You know, you would think players might get a little angry at each other, but Kenny Kelly was put in. It wasn't his choice as coaches. So those two, very close. Scott Covington, the 5th-year senior. Kenny Kelly, the freshman. I'm sure Scott Covington helping him out with his reads, maybe saying, hey, you got to get rid of that ball in the end zone. But there's no animosity between those type of players.
Second down 12 and another knee for Winky. Now, if you look at Covington again, this is an incredible story of just perseverance because, you know, he really thought about just walking away from this program. I mean, that's it. But he stuck it out his 5th year. And actually, there was talk maybe Kenny Kelly they should go to and just build for the future. But Covington has come in and said, nope, it's my team.
Covington wrote a letter to Butch Davis about 3 years ago saying, Coach, I want to be released from my scholarship. Butch Davis said, 2 reasons I didn't let him go. Number 1, the team's best interest came first. I couldn't afford to lose him. Number 2, the player's best interest comes second. Davis had a long talk with Covington and his father and said, look, this is quarterback you. If you have aspirations to play in the NFL, you'd be well served to stay here. Tough day today for Covington, but again, not his fault. He didn't get a whole lot of help, got hit quite a bit, but had a nice game all in all.
Winky had a nice game with some pressure on his back, and Bobby Bowden trots off as the Seminoles jump to 5-1 on the season. So for Ed Cunningham, this is Craig Bolerjack. We say so long from the Orange Bowl, where the final is Florida State 26, Miami 14. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports.
Because of our low fares to the places you want to go, you can spread your wings whenever you want.
Numbers Jamal Lewis, he's out, but the two Travises, Henry and Stevens, combined for 160 yards rushing. T. Martin feeling good.
We came into the spring with that attitude. That was our motto, actually, to put on our work boots and be a blue-collar football team. We were kind of finessed last year, and we wanted to change our image to a blue-collar football team. That's exactly what we're aiming for, and it's helping us out to win some games.
It's hard for me to sit in here and talk about something that was, you know, they totally kicked our butts. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, I can't analyze it any better than that.
Tennessee's defense, tenacious indeed. Here's what they did. They allowed only 3 points. The Dogs came in averaging almost 30 per game, and Quincy Carter, he was harassed, he was harangued. Only 14 of 37 passing. The game you just saw on ESPN, the Florida Gators beat LSU 22-10, but of concern, Jesse Palmer, the designated #1 quarterback, goes out with a broken collarbone. Doug Johnson leads the Gators to a victory by a dozen. Florida State and Miami. This was 45-0 Noles last year. Different story in this game. Scott Covington, Daniel Franks, 7-7 ball game, late second quarter. Chris Wenke to Marvin Minnis. In traffic, 23-yard catch, Florida State leading 14-7. And here is Wenke, who's really settled down. They simplified the offense for him after that disaster at NC State when he threw 6 picks. And you find Peter Warrick, and you're finding a guy who's going to help you. That set up a touchdown run, a short plunge as Florida State does beat the Canes. Miami's getting better, though. 26-14 is the final. Remember, since that 6-pick disaster, Wenke has thrown 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. Warrick, 7 receptions, 190 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now, we started this day early on.
And Aggies are up 7-zip. Second quarter, game now tied at 7.